Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So, in the last episode, we had a kind of a busy trade deadline in a sense where we brought in a good defenseman to hopefully help us out defensively, and we made the playoffs with a 46-32-4 record. So, we are finally back up here in the postseason for the first time in 3 seasons, I guess, because we missed the last 2 years. So, hopefully, this year we could actually be a good playoff team, and hopefully we're not that type of team that's out in the first round. The team we're playing is going to be the Arizona Coyotes, which is oddly enough a team we made a trade with last offseason because we did acquire our top line player in, well, it's his first name, Weston Wharton, double W. So we brought him in from Arizona, oddly enough, and we gave them Ron Torres, our former starting goaltender, and he's going to be their starting goaltender, or backup goaltender actually, in the playoffs, so he might not get the starting games, but still he's there. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if this type of team could go on a run. I really hope we can, because obviously guys like Vance, Reefers, guys like Burnstrom, this could be potentially their last seasons in the NHL, so we definitely want to win while we have the opportunity to. Also, Recchi could be retiring randomly soon too, so obviously we want to win the Stanley Cup while we have those guys, because if those guys retire, obviously it's going to leave a little bit of a hole in our lineup, and we're going to have these young guys like Coburn take over for those veteran type guys. So hopefully this is the season for our team to do really well. This is the guy we brought in from the New York Rangers in our trade. You can see Raymond Carter helped play good defensively for us, and I hope that he could play good for us in the postseason as well. Because this guy is usually a pretty good shutdown defender. And the good thing is we do have him also signed into next season as well. So hopefully he could do good for us next year as well, not just this season. There was an injury near the end of last episode to Nico Kaupinen, so unfortunately the youngster is going to miss like a week at least of this first round action, so that leaves us a little bit of a hole in our lineup, but hopefully we can still do decently. And then I'm kind of a bit worried about our goaltending situation because our goalies weren't really that good in the regular season. Both of them had like really terrible save percentages and stuff like that, but I'm hoping Tyupkin maybe is a playoff goaltender, not a regular season guy, because you can see his career numbers in the regular season in .889. You go to his playoff numbers in the AHL, he was absolutely insane through 10 games in the AHL playoffs. So maybe he's a good playoff goaltender, and that's exactly what we kind of need this postseason. So there is that. And before we get into this, let's show you guys what Arizona is looking like, and then we'll get into this first round matchup. And yeah, hopefully guys like Vance continue to do what they did in the regular season, because he had like 67 goals. So hopefully he could live up to that expectation again in the postseason like he normally does. But here is Arizona. You can see they're kind of a team that's lacking a bit of depth. Like, they have some solid top 6 players, but their wingers are definitely a bit weak when you have like guys like 79 overall on your third line and also on your top line. But their center depth is definitely really good. And Fawcett used to be an elite player, I'm pretty sure, years ago. But he has dropped off a lot since, and he's definitely close to being a retired player as well. So their center depth is good, but everything else I'm not really too sold on. And then you can see their defensive core does have some former players also. Artem Datsuk is over there. He used to be with us for a little bit. We do have also Len Morris on the Yotes, which is a little bit weird to see. He was, I think, part of that same trade with Ron Torres last offseason. So we did get rid of both those guys. And yeah, hopefully we are able to beat them, because that would kind of suck if they're able to go into the next round. But basically Arizona is good at goaltending, and that's pretty much it. So if we could get past these 90 and 88 overall goalies, we should do well. So there is that, and let's get into this first round matchup. Let's first make sure our lines are set up well and good. Also, one thing that's pretty cool is I realized, I think after I recorded last episode, I don't know if I realized when I recorded last episode or not. I don't remember if I said in the last episode, but basically our first round pick that we got from the Pittsburgh Penguins, it actually has the 4th best odds for the first overall pick, so we might end up winning a draft lottery this year as well, which is kind of awesome. So that would be really nice for us if we're able to win a draft lottery and also contend for a Stanley Cup. So let's make sure we got this set up the way we want to. I think so. I might want to be moving Huxley up for Zubris. That might be something I wouldn't mind doing. I mean, Zubris had like 30 points this year, right? Minus 14 though, which is not ideal. Huxley had 17 goals, only a -2. I might swap Zubers and Huxley occasionally, but right now I think I'm going to keep it like this. But we might end up changing it a little bit if that third line struggles. And then Curtis Coburn, hopefully he has a good first playoff run. He might end up winning the Calder this year. He's up against the guy that went first overall, so it'll be interesting to see if we have our first Calder winner, I think, of this entire series, because I don't remember if Vance won the Calder or not. I don't think he did, but I could be wrong. So anyways, there is that. Let's get into game one. We should have home ice advantage for a little bit at least of this playoff run, but we do definitely for the series against Arizona. So let's see what happens. Game number one on home ice, the first playoff game we've had in a few years. Can we get off to a good start? First period of game number one. And we're down 1-0. Not ideal, but not terrible either. Being only down by a goal, I mean, we're still within this game easily. We're out shooting them 12-9, so we're having our chances, but their goaltender currently is locked in. Hopefully, we can find a way to get a goal in the second period, because if our offense dries up, that's going to be problematic, because we are a very good offensive team in the regular season and not a great defensive team. So if we play good defensive hockey, obviously that's great, but if we don't play good offensively, we're not living up to that offensive potential we have with guys like Vance and Coburn. Can we find a way to tie this game up at least in the second period? Second period, 3-1 Arizona, not ideal. We went down 2-0, Bancroft made it 2-0, and then Brossoit gets us our first goal, so that's the top line, making it 2-1. 2 goals in the first minute of the period, and then Barlow restored the 2-goal advantage for them at 3-1 with like 15 minutes left, and then nobody scored after that. We're still out shooting him 23-19, but we're down by a pair of goals, which is not a great way to start off this this first round, but who knows, maybe we'll still be able to get it all the way to like a Game 7 situation if we end up losing this game. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we're able to get back into this game. Power play opportunity, we do not capitalize. That's not good. Power play again, come on boys. And we do not score again. It's too bad we didn't capitalize on those, because that would have maybe helped us get back into this game. Final few minutes of game number one, and unfortunately it looks like we are going to, drop game one by a score of 3-1. Their goaltender was locked in, making 35 saves, and we allowed 3 goals on 29 shots. Not a terrible performance from Tyupkin, but definitely our offense needs to be better, as the top line has all the points. Brossoit from Vance and Wharton is the only goal for us. Not ideal. 3 stars in the games, Fedberg, Bancroft, and Magnuson, all for Arizona. I don't know if I should make any line changes yet. That was a bad offensive first game. I mean, we could just easily rebound from that game too, but also we could go down 2-0 headed to Arizona, which would not be great. Do I want to make some adjustments here? It sucks that Kuoperainen's out still for a bit. Let's go Kachuk and Jokela again, and then Carter and Brunstrom. And yeah, we'll keep with Tyupkin, because Tyupkin wasn't... he was not the best, but he was not the worst either. I've seen way worse before. So we'll keep him in for game 2. Obviously, we want to give him a little bit of a leash to kind of run with the playoffs a bit, because this is his first ever NHL playoffs. So that's the only thing, like I said, that I'm kind of worried about is our inexperience in net. Hopefully our offense could rebound here in game 2. We're still on home ice, so hopefully we can at least get a split headed to Arizona, because we're going to have to win both games in Arizona to get ourselves back into the series. So here we go, game number 2. Can we score more than a goal in this game? First period of game number 2. 2-1, there we go. That's a good period. So we outscore our first game already. Fawcett made it 1-0 early. Brossoit scores his second goal of the series already, so that's great to see that top line scoring goals. Not exactly who I was expecting to score the goals, because I thought Vance would be scoring them, but Brossoit has 2 through 2 games, and Zuras gives us the lead. Shots are 14-11 in favor of us. Can we get some insurance in the second period? Second period, 5-1. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Zubers makes it 3-1 with his second in the night. Coburn makes it 4-1, and Vance scores to make it 5-1. We're out shooting him 27-18, so this is completely opposite of last game. Good offense and, well, I mean, still good defense, I'd say, because last game I wouldn't say was terrible defense. I'd say it's average, but now we're starting to play good on both ends of the ice in this game, so that's really good to see. Also, the fact that Coburn scores his first ever playoff goal is nice. Zuber's having 2 goals makes me think I shouldn't demote him to the 4th line at all. He should stay in that 3rd line spot, so that's what's going to happen for a while, at least, unless there is some change in his goal scoring performance. But let's see what happens in this 3rd period, see if we're able to lock this one down here and at least have a tie series headed to Arizona, which probably should be the case, because if we blow a 5-1 lead in the 3rd period, we don't even deserve to be in the playoffs at this point, if that's the case. Final few minutes, and they score another goal. Kilger makes it 5-2, but Brossoit answers back with another goal to make it 6-2. What a playoff performance so far from Brossoit on the top line, and we do win 6-2, and we have tied the series headed back to Arizona. So, Brossoit from Vance and Wharton, Zubers from Burrish, Zubers from Ziska and Hutton, Coburn from Recchi and Reefers, Vance from Brossoit and Wharton, and Brossoit from Vance and Wharton. That entire top line has really good chemistry, it seems like, because they're all assisting on each other's goals. 3 points for each of the players on the top line, and then you have Zubers with 2 goals and a couple guys with 1 point each. Nice. Mostly everybody on the team was plus in that game, too. Only Huxley and Martins were -1. Everybody else was pretty much plus except for Ziska, who was an even 0. And a great performance from Tyupkin. Is Tyupkin actually one of those 89 overalls that could simulate good in the playoffs? So Brossoit 1st star, Vance 2nd star, and Zubers the 3rd. Wharton doesn't get a star because all 3 of his points were assists, apparently. A little bit weird, but oh well. Okay. So we have a 1-1 series split headed to Arizona. We might as well keep rolling with this because I think all of our lines are doing relatively well in terms of offense. We just got to maintain this goal scoring that we just scored in that game, because obviously game 1 not scoring that much kind of sucked, but scoring 6 goals in game 2 definitely made up for the lack of offense in the first game. So here we go, game 3, we're in Arizona. We're definitely keeping the team the same for now. Can we take a 2-1 series lead in our first lead of the series? First period, scoreless. I'll take it. Good defensive period. It's nice to see our team actually playing good defensively in some of these games too. 14 shots to 5 though is not ideal. We are definitely not playing the best defensively, but the goaltending from Tyupkin has been great so far in this one, keeping us in this game. Are we able to find a way to break the deadlock in the 2nd period? 2nd period, 2-0 Arizona. Not ideal on that, but we were getting badly outshot, so I'm not putting that on Tyupkin. Fawcett and Magnuson score. And yeah, we're down by 2 goals going into the 3rd, and we're getting doubled up in shots, 25-12. So we need to find a way to get more shots on goal, and we need to limit their chances if we want to get back into this game in the 3rd period, but not so good so far. So let's see what happens. 3rd period. Can we get an early goal to get us back in the game? Come on, boys. Come on, Recchi. I know you have goals in you too, because you haven't scored yet in this playoffs. Burrish scores to make it a 2-1 game. That's a big goal from the youngster. Can we find a goal to tie it up, though, is the question. No, we can't. Clark makes it 3-1. That's not ideal. Not on Tyupkin, no. And Morris, of course. Len Morris has to score against us, and he makes it 4-1, and we lose 4-1 in game number 3. We got doubled up in shots final as well, 40-20. Not an ideal game. That one's definitely not on Tyupkin. Lack of offense again. Burst from Zubers and Gustafsson. So our offense is definitely being a little bit inconsistent, if I'm saying anything. Apparently there was a fight against Brunstrom was fighting in the playoffs. Is a little bit weird, but there was like a lot of penalties in that first period that probably set us back quite a bit. 2 of them from the youngster and Hutton, which is not ideal. Yeah, Svedberg didn't even have to make much saves in that game. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really like the inconsistency of our offense right now, so I might make some changes. And Kelpinen is back. He is back, so that is huge for our defensive core. That hopefully will improve our defensive play a little bit. So we'll put Kelpinen in, and we will probably put, Kelpinen on the right side, since I think he was more offensively driven. Tyupkin's been solid in save percentage-wise, so we'll keep him in. But do we want to make any other line adjustments to try and get our team being better offensively? I think I have an idea. Let's basically go back to Reefers on the top line with Vance, the original line from last season We'll go back to Wharton on the left side. We'll put Coburn at center because he does have face-off stats, like 78. And then we'll probably swap Huxley and Gustafson. And yeah, that's probably all the change we'll do on the offensive front. Defensively, obviously Kapanen drawing back in should hopefully help us. If it doesn't, we could always change up the top four a little bit, like readjust these guys. Like we could make it a +1 and +2 instead of a +5 and a or even 0. So we could always do that if for some reason we struggle in this next game. But let's see what the top line can do. Obviously, the top line was doing really well with Wharton up there, but maybe finding a way to readjust it a little bit will help spread out the offense to that second line, because the second line hasn't been doing too much. Yeah, and they were minus as well, so want to get that line going a little bit. So hopefully putting Wharton with Coburn will be nice for our team. This is a must-win game, I'd say, because if we fall down here, we'd be down 3-1 in the series, and we'd have to win 3 straight games. So can we tie the series, headed back home, please, boys? Let's get at least 1 win here in Arizona. First period of game number 4. Oh my goodness. Okay, Tayupkin. You are playing pretty good up to this point, but you allow 3 goals in the first 10 minutes, and then Blackburn already allowed in a goal. We allowed 4 goals on 8 shots. Where is our defense all of a sudden? God damn. Shots are 8-5 in favor of them. We have no goals on 5 shots. We need to find a way to claw back into this. Like, I mean, we need to have a period where we basically allow no goals and we get at least 2 goals back. Can we do that? Second period? Oh my goodness. Well, our playoffs might be over soon. Which, of course they are, because Chicago is completely, like, screwed in this franchise mode. Like, I can't find any way to win with this team, even with, like, making great upgrades, drafting good players. Like, this is just unfortunate, because we might have some retirements this offseason or next season. Well, they have 6 goals on 18 shots, so they're scoring 1 goal every 3 shots on goal. And, yeah, we have 13 shots and no goals. I could just skip through this period, but I would rather do a real-time sim. Recchi scores to make it 6-1, so nice to see Recchi finally show up to get a point, because he did have, like, point per game in the regular season. Reefers makes it 6-2. So there's 2 goals in this third period. Yeah, we're not going to claw back in this. Too late, guys. Much too late to get those 2 goals. Reefers scores again to make it 6-3. Nice to see Reefers getting goals. But unfortunately, we dug ourselves in the hole in that first period. If we didn't allow those first period goals, that would have been much better. But we only scored all 3 of our goals in the third period. And we gave up 6 way too early. Recchi from Jokela, Reefers from Kachuk, Reefers from Brossoit, and Kapanen. Well, adjustments are definitely coming. I think I might play Blackburn next game, but he was... I guess he was the better of the two. Tayupkin allowed 3 goals on 6 shots. So that's not ideal. I could always call up Marsh just to randomly see if he's a good playoff goalie, but I honestly don't think it's worth it, because we need to win 3 straight games. So let's just go ahead and make some crazy adjustments to see if we could get 3 straight wins. But it's looking like we're going to be packing our bags early again, which is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Let's go this. Let's see, who's scratched again? Forsberg, you're a sniper. Curtis Corey, you're a playmaker. I don't know about putting any of those guys in, to be honest. We'll go back to Carter with Jokela, Kachuk, and Kapanen. Hutton's dropping off due to morale because of ice time. The question is, do we trade Hutton in the offseason because of morale reasons and because we got guys in the system that could take a spot? Maybe we end up doing that. Or we could call up somebody right now, which I don't know if I want to do that because these guys are playing in the AHL playoffs, it seems like. Wow, Fergon got a lot of growth too. So we have like 3 defensemen that might jump to the NHL next year. Gustavo Brown literally could be in the NHL right now, but like I said, I think I would rather the AHL team keep contending. Brookbank might be in the NHL next season, so we probably should just leave this team as is in the AHL so they have a better chance at potentially winning a Calder Cup. But This really sucks because we never know if Vance is going to call it quits at the end of this episode or not. I don't think he is. I think he has got maybe one more year at least. Reefers, on the other hand, he might be out this year. He might be out next year. And then you also have Burnstrom, who I think is probably out this year. But he could be out next year too. But he might be in his last year of his time here in Chicago, Burnstrom, because he is on a pending free agent deal. And we do got guys in the system that could take his spot as well. So, let's see what happens here. We need to win 3 straight games or else we're packing our bags earlier than I liked again. This really sucks, this franchise mode sometimes, man. I like this franchise mode, but I just don't like how our team cannot find a way to win in the playoffs. Like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like this team is definitely, like, cheesed quite a bit. But let's do a real-time sim of this entire game because we're on our backs. Can we find a way to get up? Reefers scores again. So Reefers is all of a sudden scoring a lot. He scored 2 in the third period last game. He's got 1 here in the first period of this game. And it was a power play goal, so nice to see the power play scoring. And it will be 1-0 for us after 1 with the shots 15-8. So a pretty dominant period for us offensively in terms of chances, but Svedberg has been pretty damn good for them. So like I was saying before, I think the goaltending is probably the difference maker. I think I said that at least. I'm pretty sure Svedberg had like some chances to win the Vezina in prior years, so it doesn't surprise me he's doing this well. Let's see what happens in the second period, see if we're able to add some insurance. Penalty kill, and they get a power play goal, and it's friggin' Len Morris. Are you serious? God damn it, Len. I know you used to do this type of thing for us, but man, we need to win here. Boganecki scores to make it 2-1. Are you kidding me? And now we're trailing late in the second period. Not ideal. Not ideal, but Vance says, hey, screw you, Len. We're tying this game up again. Let's go. Okay, brand new game, 2-2. Shots 26-25 going into the third period. We need to win this game or else we're ending our season early. Come on, boys. Come on, Vance. Come on, Reefers. I almost wanted to say come on, Nazar, even though I haven't seen him in years. Vance scores again. Vance is coming alive. Wharton scores, so the top line getting back to where they were before. It makes it 4-2. Huge. Huge from our top guys. It's exactly what we kind of needed. Final 5 minutes, and we are going to be surviving for another day, maybe. Aguirre makes it 4-3, and that will be the final. So Wharton, the former Coyote, with the game-winning goal. And we're back in the series again. We need to win still 2 more games, though. So Reefers from Wharton, Vance from Kaupinen and Brossoit, Vance from Brossoit and Wharton, and Wharton from Recchi and Carter. 3 stars of the game. Wharton, the first star, 3 points against his former team. Vance, the second star, and Brossoit, the third star. Those 3 guys are our main cause of offense. We need some more depth scoring, it seems like, at the moment. Because youngster Coburn is having a little bit of a tough time in his first playoff go. Not going to put it on him, though, because of the fact that he's in his first playoffs. But the top line has been great. But we need it to kind of trickle down to our other lines if possible. Let's try something random, like moving Coburn down. Because we have been kind of rushing him. Let's move Huxley into the top 6. Test him out there. Keep the defense the same. And the goaltending will still stay the same, even though I have not been sold on both goalies. We are still going to run with Tayupkin because he's been our starter, so we'll see if he's able to find himself in the next game. We have not won a game yet in Arizona in these playoffs, so we need to win this one, though, to force a Game 7, or else we are knocked out in the first round. If we could get back to a Game 7, maybe we'll have a chance to get to the next round, but if we don't get to that Game 7, obviously we don't have the chance, but I feel like we might have a better chance of winning this series if it goes to a Game 7 is what I'm trying to say. Because if the series was tied right now, I'd say we might have the upper hand going into a Game 7, but you never know. Montreal has been knocked out in the first round, and the Islanders have been knocked off in the first round as well after a historic season. So Sylvain Parks is eliminated in round 1, and yeah, that Islanders team that killed it this regular season with 3 guys that almost won the Art Ross, they're out in the first round. And it might be Toronto, Carolina as well that are on to the next round. Edmonton's already on to the next round. Dallas is as well. And San Jose and St. Louis will be going to a Game 7. So, can we force a Game 7 of our own? We need to win this game. Another real-time simulation. Come on, boys. Let's get this win here. Let's have a good performance like last game. Vance scores a power play goal early. Vance is trying to get this team back in the series. He's doing as much as he can. Magnuson ties it up. Not ideal. Come on, boys. Do it for Vance. He had 67 goals in the regular season. You knew he was going to score a lot in the playoffs, too. And it's going to be 1-1 after 1 with the shots 12-7. So we definitely need to continue to get the pressure on and hopefully get another goal past Svedberg if possible. Let's see what happens in this very big second period. Can we get that next goal? Come on, boys. Come on. This is a close game like last game. And they get the lead. Barlow makes it 2-1. That's not good, but Vance scores again. Let's go, Vance. Let's go, man. That's back-to-back games with 2 goals. He has tied the game up at 2 again. And it's going to be 2-2 going into the third period, just like last game. Shots 24-18. We're a period away from going to a Game 7, potentially. A period away from maybe getting eliminated. A period away from going to an overtime situation. There's a lot of potential here. Come on, boys. Come on, Vance. I know you have it in you. You've been scoring a lot recently. Can you get us to a Game 7? And can the team get us to a Game 7? Come on, boys. Power play opportunity. We did not capitalize. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. Nicely done. Come on, Reefers. I know you have goals in you, too. Final 5 minutes of this third period. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. No! Magnuson scores late, and we lose 3-2 with a goal in the final 2 minutes from Magnuson, and our season is over in 6 goddamn games. What is it going to take to get this team a series win, at least, even? At this point, who cares about a Stanley Cup? Let's win a playoff series. Frick. This is unfortunate again. This might be the last time we see some of these guys. You never know. Vance from Jokela and Brossoit, and Vance from Brossoit and Kaupinen. But we're out in round 1 to a team that finished below us in the standings. And Len Morris, Artem Datsuk, and Ron Torres will get a chance in the second round to continue their playoff seasons. Vance got 3rd star in that game. Why is our former players getting on farther than us all the time? We just pretty much rode with our top line most of the playoffs in those 6 games. Our depth scoring is probably going to be pretty terrible, my guess, but damn, that really blows. I really hope it's not the last time we see some of these guys. Brossoit could be retiring soon too. God damn. If we look at our player stats, Vance was great, over point per game as he normally is. 5 goals in 6 games, 8 points. Hopefully this is not the last year we see him. I hope he's got one more year at least in him. Almost at 100 career playoff goals. Reefers was solid, 4 points. But yeah, you can see the depth scoring definitely problematic. Burish and Ziska barely did anything. Martins didn't do a single thing. Warden was great, 7 points in 6 games. I don't know if he's going to come back this offseason because I might not have the cap space. Coburn, not really ideal for the rookie. 1 goal in 6 games and -4. Hopefully he gets some good development in the offseason and helps us out a lot next year. Gustafsson, 1 assist. Nothing there from him. And Huxley had no points and a -5. Yeah, the depth scoring absolutely tragic with this team. That's what separates this team from my Ice Tigers team, is the Ice Tigers team had a lot more depth scoring. Brossoit, 9.6 games, was great. Zubrus was okay in 1 game, but very quiet in the rest. And Recchi barely did anything. So if you look at our forward core, these 3 guys, really good. Everybody else was below point per game, though. So that needs to improve. Defensively, Kaupinen was good. Since coming back from injury, he was point per game. But Jokela, only 2 points. That's not ideal. -5. Kachuk, 1 point, -6. Carter was +4, so that's great that he was good defensively. But we gave up our own first-round pick to get him. Hutton, 1 assist, +1. Lawton had no points. Brunstrom took way too many penalty minutes. The old man is fighting everything apparently. And then both goalies were absolutely tragic like they were in the regular season. So we need better depth scoring, better goaltending performances, and we need our back end to play much better in terms of offense. Because Jokela was great in the regular season, but playoff-wise, didn't really live up to that expectation. So not ideal. Not ideal at all. So there is that. Now the question is the awards and also if we're going to win the draft lottery this year, because we do have at least Pittsburgh's first round pick this year, so that's at least a big positive. And hopefully we get somebody that's an elite potential player that could help us out immediately next season. But at the same time, I hope that we don't really suffer any retirements, because that could set us back quite a bit. Okay, so let's see who ends up winning the Stanley Cup this year. And if it's Arizona, that means Len Morris would be a Stanley Cup champion again. Because I think he was with our first Stanley Cup team, but hopefully Arizona doesn't win. Hopefully it's somebody different. Let's see. Who is the Stanley Cup champion in 2042? It's the Ottawa Senators, who knocked out Montreal in the first round. So at least that's kind of cool for me. How old would I be in 2042? I don't really want to do the math, but I'd be pretty old, I guess, at that point. So Ottawa's won the Stanley Cup. I believe that's their first Stanley Cup of the series. I do want to take a look at what their roster is looking like, though, for this Cup-winning team as well. And who did they win the Stanley Cup over? The San Jose Sharks in 7 games. Okay. Interesting. So Ottawa took out Montreal in 5, swept Toronto, which is awesome, and then took out Carolina in 7 and San Jose in 7. Those first 2 rounds, I would be absolutely screaming and like bragging in Habs and Leaf fans' faces easily, because I hate those fan bases a lot. So, yeah, that would be a great run for the Ottawa Senators. So there's that. Let's take a look at who's on their team, because I don't know if there's any former players. Might as well take a look and see who they got. So, any former players? I don't recognize any of these guys so far. Oh, Backlund I recognize from St. Louis, I think. Was he with St. Louis? Yeah, he was. I thought so. Knew I recognized him from somewhere. Defensively, some guys probably already got sent down, but I do not recognize a single player on their team. Okay. Let's take a look at those awards. So, Ottawa wins the Stanley Cup. First Canadian team to win since the Leafs in 2039. Islanders won the President's Trophy, but were knocked out in round 1. Not a surprise, though. In Ottawa, San Jose Stanley Cup Finals, which I think San Jose has Jacina. So, Jacina almost won a Stanley Cup, that crazy goal scorer. Cornette is going to win the Art Ross. The Hart goes to Cornette as well. Christensen, the Norris. So, you can see the Islanders cleaned up on awards, but didn't win the Cup. Lady Byng going to Gavin McKenna. Curtis Coburn won the Calder. Let's go. He beat out the guy that was first overall because he had a better plus-minus. They had the exact same point totals, but Coburn is your Calder winner, so that's a really good positive to take away. Hopefully he builds upon that next year. Grant won the Conn Smythe. Alba Tozer for San Jose won the Vezina. Almost won a Stanley Cup, too. He won the Jennings. Robitaille the Masterton for Pittsburgh. Ottawa's head coach won the Jack Adams. Keeping the Selke for Anaheim, Cornette the Lindsay, and Jacina the Richard, because he just beat out Asher Vance by 3 goals. AHL-wise, any AHL awards? Canzanello, best rookie in the AHL, so that's great, because that's a guy we drafted as well, with a pick that we moved up to get, I think like 10th overall, if I'm not mistaken. So Canzanello is the rookie of the year down there in the AHL. So there is that. Also, Boma was the best goaltender in the AHL, him and Marsh. So that's cool to see, but they didn't win the Calder Cup. That is cool. So there is the awards. Now comes the fun part, the draft lottery. The draft lottery and retirements and all that stuff. So we had some fun stuff with the draft lottery because we know we have a high pick potentially. But we also have some sad stuff that we might have some retirements, because if you look at the standings, we have the 4th best odds to get first overall. We're going to be competing with Colorado, Washington, and Nashville. Will we get the first overall pick in this year's draft, even though we are a playoff team? Let's see. No, we will not. We fall from 4 to 6, which is outside of the elite range usually. So the good thing is we do have assets. In Seattle moving from 10 to 1, maybe they would be willing to flip it. and fall back a few spots. If we want to trade up for first overall at this point, I don't see any other option. Why not try and trade up for first? Because moving 6th and then like some third rounders, second rounders, whatever, some prospects we don't need, we could easily get whoever's number 1, unless it's a franchise player. But I'd say why not try and move up if it's a good draft? Because obviously taking a really good player would probably help us in these last 5 years, especially if we end up losing Vance soon. So there is that. Seattle, Vancouver, Nashville, Washington, Colorado, then us. And I mean, getting the 6th overall pick is really nice because if you remember, we traded away, I think it was like a mid-first round pick and a lot of other random picks to try and get up there. Also, Rizzy to Pittsburgh. And yeah, we end up getting a really high up selection because of that. So there is that. Let's take a look at the retired players. Did we suffer any retirements? Oh my goodness, we did. Reefers has called it quits. Wow, and Connor Bedard as well, but don't really care about Connor Bedard, even though he was well over point per game. Shout out to him, but Emil Reefers has called it quits at 36. That is a massive surprise, kind of. Like, I mean, I felt like it because of the potential, but this guy could have easily played for another year. So here's Reefers' career stats. I will miss this guy. We brought him in from the San Jose Sharks as a free agent signing to help out Vance. And yeah, he definitely stepped it up since being there. Because with San Jose, he was averaging 50, 60 points. He comes to us and starts averaging more like 80-plus points a season. A lot of penalty minutes for him as well in his career. Really sucks to see him go. And I think, yeah, that was probably our Stanley Cup win. I think, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe this was. I know he did win a Stanley Cup with us, but wow. That is a massive surprise. So no wonder he was picking up goals near the end of that playoff run, because he was going to retire. So salute to Emil Reefers. Don't know if he's going to be a guy that gets into the Channel Hall of Fame, but one of the better players in the series for sure. Was not expecting that. I am. Corey Abbott. Why do I recognize that name? Vancouver. Okay, probably from there. Any other former players or any current players retiring? Left wing wise, nobody that I recognize from my teams in the past, but I do recognize some of these names like Fabian Leclerc. Right wing wise, anybody? Don't recognize really any of these dudes either. Zachariah Knighty retires at 34. This guy was a career AHLer for us. Did get to play last season. He had 45 games with 6 points, but AHL-wise, this guy was like kind of like an AHL legend in a sense because of the fact he played like 10 plus years down there. Was a big part of the AHL teams in helping develop a lot of our young guys. So salute to Zachariah Knighty. Best of luck to him in retirement. Defensively, we did not lose. Brunstrom. So we lost Reefers, but didn't lose Brunstrom. Weird. Owen Power just retired now. Damn, 39. Any former defenders that I recognize? Wow, that Albrecht guy already retired at 33. He was still getting paid. Israel Nugent-Hopkins retires already at 35. This guy played with us briefly. And then we flipped him away, I think. Yeah, he played 2 games, 11 games with us. And then also played in our AHL affiliate. So salute to him. Why do I recognize Ulanov? Arizona, okay. Anybody else? Damn, this is crazy. I've already seen some retirements. Was not expecting Reefers. So there we go. Losing Reefers definitely makes me want to draft a good center, if possible. Damn, this guy had 40 shutouts. That's pretty impressive. I don't think I've seen a goalie generated that's gotten that much shutouts in his career. Interesting. So Reefers is retired, and we also did lose Tillett from our coaching staff. I don't remember what he was. And we did not lose any AHL coaches. Okay. Now comes the interesting part. First we got to take a look at progress reports and the contract situation, but then we get to look at the draft class and see what we could get at number 6. Or like I said, we could try and move up for number 1. Or something in the top 3 at least. But let's see what we got here. So, wow, Coburn with a lot of natural and statistical growth. He is up to an 85 overall, so that's huge for us. Definitely going to be great to have him in the top 6 as an actual second liner. Recchi is pretty much on the decline. Same with Vance. Yeah, Vance might retire at 36, which is kind of scary. Him and Recchi very close, I think. Recchi might be a guy that retires at 34, 35. Bursch getting some statistical. Brookbank should be in the NHL next year, which is nice. Boursois didn't get any drop-off, which is good. So he'll maybe be back for another year if we re-sign him. Tayukin getting some growth. He's up to our decline? Yeah, statistical drop-off. He's down to an 86. Hutton's looks like statistical drop-off too or something. Yeah, a lot of these guys had stat growth, which I didn't even realize. So maybe that's why our team isn't as good as it looks, is because a lot of guys were statistically driven instead. So I don't know who comes back and who doesn't this offseason. Fergone close to NHL ready. Same with Canzanello. Gustavo Brown also getting close, but he's probably more of a depth option. Benino's close. Good to see at least some of our guys getting growth, though. Wow, Dallas Bruce, who we drafted last year, I think, he's got a lot of growth. 75 overall at 19, so he's AHL ready. Definitely. That's really nice to see as well. Because some of these guys might be able to crack our lineup in these last few years. Yeah, we're getting pretty solid growth, it looks like. Hanzus, one of those goalies we drafted, is up to a 70. Yeah, well, at least we have some trade assets with those goaltenders. Like, we could definitely move our pick in one of our elite goalies and easily get, I think, to the first overall pick. Unless it's a franchise player, it might be much tougher, but there's that. Contract situation. Who is up for renewal in this offseason? Boursois and Wharton are the big ones, also Bernstrom. So, Boursois would cost us $10 million. Wharton would cost us a little bit more. He wants a max-term deal. So, I kind of want to have both these guys back, but I don't know if that's possible. So, I'll leave that up to you guys. Bernstrom on 1 year left. Do we bring him back for his asking price or let him go to another team for the final year of his career? Let him pull a Daniel Elfordson or something. Huxley wants 3 years at a good price. I might honestly give it to him. Ziska's a pending UFA. Do we bring him back for the bottom 6? Zubris, pending UFA, similar price. Forsberg's probably gone. Hutton is an RFA, so we could trade away his rights if we want to. And then everybody else is pretty much AHLers. A lot of UFAs, though. Goalie-wise, Blackburn's up for renewal. He doesn't really want that much, but we could bring him back as a backup or find another backup. We also have Marsh, who's up for renewal, but once again wants a two-way deal. And Kudobin, he has UFA rights this year. So I could trade away Kudobin with our first rounder potentially to get ourselves a high-up pick. A very high-up pick, I should say. Now the question is, what are we going to get at first with our first-round pick at 6th overall? Let's take a first look at our projected picks. We have our first, we have our second, which might help us move up. We have 2 fourths, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. And obviously we have a bunch of random prospects that if we don't need them, we could trade away. Especially in the goaltending department. Because you can see Boma is elite, Hanzus is elite, Kudobin's elite, Sasaki's elite. So we could definitely move out a goalie in that. We also do have, I'd say, some forwards, but I would rather probably move a goaltender if anything. So there's that. And now the draft class. 6th overall, what do we got? Okay, so it's no franchise player this year, unfortunately. But it's another medium elite power forward that's another left winger, like we already have. But we have 6, so I do not know about Quinn Prince. He, to me, does not look like he's going to be an elite player. He looks like he's going to be a top 6, so I probably wouldn't draft him, to be honest. But if we were able to move up a few picks, then we might be able to get into the elite territory. Chugo is also a top 6. That's NHL ready almost. I don't know if I would take him that high, to be honest. I would probably want to move into the top 4, top 3. Because there is a two-way forward in Roman Klesla, who's like Patrick Kane. Has Ice Pack as a zone ability as a forward. Very good defensive player. Jimmy Collins, if we want to get an elite defenseman, try and move up to get him. He's probably more of a two-way defenseman. Yeah, he is. Okay. And then there's 2 power forwards. And right now they look identical. So I don't know who goes first overall to do these guys. Probably Stokes because he's a bit younger. But if we wanted to move up to take another elite power forward, we could easily do that. Potentially Johnny Hawley scoring 61 goals in freaking the WHL. And then you have Kenneth Stokes scoring 50 goals in the WHL. Insane. So we can always try and move up and get one of those guys, or we could take somebody a bit more off the board, but I don't think that's very smart to do with the fact that we have 6 overall. Unless there's somebody intriguing, which right now I'm not seeing. Luke Kaminsky, no. Yeah, I don't know if it's the best draft class. Let's take a look at see if there's any late round steals potentially. Bear Dice, what a name. He might be medium elite, but it's hard to tell. Probably more of a top 6. Torsten Jacobson, Eno Ranta, another goalie with a potential X factor. Pressburg. Any low elites? More low elites. I always love low elites. Matt Gerard, really good looking pick, but I'm not going to take him as high as our pick. But for a second rounder, he might be worth taking. He would be worth taking for sure, because he's almost NHL ready, it looks like. He's got good goal scoring. And then you also have Lucas Walters, who is also pretty solid, but a few years out. You have Pete Belak, long shot, but still, there's a lot of low elites in this draft. Whoa! Holy crap. Jordan James. 19 years old, supposed to go in the 7th round, but he's 2 years out. Okay, Jordan James, double J. Might have to take you at some point. So Loviov looks solid too, kind of. But he's not a guaranteed low elite. There might be some really good low elite picks in this draft. Wow. So I definitely think we need to draft Jordan James and Gerard if possible, but I'd also like to try and move up in this draft if we want to get one of those medium elite players. So I would say probably one of those goaltenders like Khudobin in our first. We might be able to move into the top 3. Grab ourselves either an elite defenseman or an elite power forward. But I would prefer that over a top 6 guy that's that high of a pick. So there is that. And I think that's pretty much it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the draft and re-sign stage as we near closer and closer to the end with only one Stanley Cup to show for. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.